What if your body was sending you quiet signals that your arteries are clogging, and you didn't even know it? For many older people, heart attacks and strokes seem like sudden events, something that just happens one day. But in truth, the warning signs often come long before any medical emergency. The problem is, these signs aren't always dramatic. In fact, some are so subtle, they're easy to dismiss as just part of getting older, but ignoring them could be a serious mistake. This video is especially for older people who want to protect their heart and live longer with better health. We're going to walk through 5 of the most unexpected but surprisingly common signs that your arteries might be clogging. These aren't just textbook symptoms, like chest pain. We're talking about lesser-known clues, things you might not think twice about, that could actually be your body's way of waving a red flag. So stay with. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to watch for, but you'll feel more confident in your ability to protect your health and take smart steps forward. Let's get started. Sign 1. Jaw or neck discomfort. Most people think of chest pain when they imagine clogged arteries. But what if I told you that one of the earliest signs of arterial blockage might show up not in your chest, but in your jaw or neck? It's true and surprisingly common. Discomfort in these areas, especially during physical activity or stress, can be your body's subtle cry for help, and the longer it's ignored, the more dangerous it becomes. When arteries start to clog, the reduced blood flow doesn't just affect the heart directly. It can also trigger what's known as referred pain, pain that radiates to places like your lower jaw, throat, shoulders, or even back. For many seniors, this pain might feel like tightness, pressure, or a dull ache. And because it's not the typical chest-grabbing image we associate with heart trouble, it's often dismissed as muscle tension or dental issues. Let's take Eleanor, 74, as an example. She started noticing a strange soreness in her jaw every time she went for her afternoon walks. At first, she thought maybe she was grinding her teeth in her sleep or clenching her jaw out of habit. But it kept happening, especially when she exerted herself, and it always faded once she rested. After her daughter insisted, Eleanor got checked out. The diagnosis, angina, caused by reduced blood flow to the heart, manifesting as jaw discomfort. She was stunned. That strange jaw feeling was actually a red flag waving right in front of her face. There's a psychological reason why signs like this are so easy to overlook. As we age, we tend to become experts at pushing through discomfort. We've lived through decades of aches and pains, so we get used to dismissing new ones. But subtle doesn't mean harmless. In fact, when it comes to your arteries, subtle signs are often the only clues your body gives before a much more serious event, like a heart attack. So if you've been feeling an unexplained tightness in your jaw, pressure in your neck, or any discomfort that seems to come and go with activity or emotion, take it seriously. It's not about panicking, it's about being proactive. You've earned the right to enjoy your later years with strength, clarity, and vitality. But that begins by recognizing the signs your body is giving you, no matter how small they may seem. Sign 2. Fatigue during mild activity. Feeling tired after climbing a few stairs or taking a short walk around the block might seem like a normal part of aging. But if you're over 60 and you suddenly find yourself winded or drained by things that never used to bother you, your body might be trying to tell you something more serious. That kind of fatigue isn't always about poor sleep or just getting older. It could be a sign that your heart isn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood, and that your arteries may be narrowing or blocked. When your arteries clog, the blood has a harder time moving through. That means less oxygen and fewer nutrients get to your muscle. So even the most basic activities, walking to the mailbox, gardening, carrying groceries, can start to feel like a workout. And when your heart has to work harder to push blood through those narrowed passages, you get tired faster. It's not just physical fatigue either. You might notice mental fog, a drop in concentration, or even a strange sense of irritability. What's especially tricky is that many seniors brush this off. They think, well, I'm not 40 anymore. Of course I'm slowing down, but it's not about age, it's about blood flow. Healthy seniors in their 70s and 80s still have energy, still take walks, still enjoy movement without crashing into exhaustion. So when the energy dip feels out of the ordinary for you, that's a clue worth paying attention to. There's also an emotional layer to this. When you don't have the energy to do what you love, it's easy to start withdrawing, skipping social events, turning down invitations, or staying in more often. That leads to more isolation, less activity, and in time, a higher risk of physical and cognitive decline. So what begins as a clogged artery ends up affecting your mood, your relationships, and overall quality of life. Let me give you a real-world example. A man named Walter, 72 years old, used to walk to the local coffee shop every morning, a habit he loved. But he started noticing that about halfway there, he'd need to sit down on a bench and rest. His legs felt heavy, and he was more short of breath than usual. He chalked it up to just age, and didn't think much of it, until one day, his daughter noticed his lips looked slightly bluish. They took him to the doctor, and after some tests, it turned out his arteries were more than 80% blocked. They caught it just in time. So if you're noticing unusual fatigue during normal daily activities, don't ignore it. You know your body better than anyone else. When something doesn't feel right, listen to that voice inside. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 3. Erectile difficulties in men. When arteries begin to clog, the first place the effects show up isn't always the heart or brain. It's often the smallest blood vessels in your body, and for men over 60, that means one of the most telling early signs of poor circulation might be hidden in the bedroom. Erectile dysfunction, or difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection, can be a subtle but serious signal that your arteries are not delivering blood the way they should. Here's why this matters. An erection depends entirely on healthy blood flow. The arteries in the penis are much smaller than the ones leading to the heart. So if plaque is starting to build up, these smaller vessels will feel the effects first. This means that in many cases, problems with sexual performance aren't just a matter of age or stress. They can be one of the earliest warnings of cardiovascular disease. And unfortunately, too many older men chalk it up to just getting older and never look deeper. Let's talk about Raymond. He's 68 and had always been healthy, staying relatively active and eating well. But he started noticing that intimacy wasn't what it used to be. It wasn't a dramatic change, it just took longer, and things didn't always work the way they once did. He felt embarrassed, thought it was normal aging, and avoided talking to his doctor. Months later, after experiencing some mild chest tightness while climbing stairs, he got tested. The results showed significant blockage in several arteries. The signs were there all along, they just didn't look the way most people expect. There's also a deeper emotional layer here. For many men, sexual health is tied to confidence, identity, and emotional well-being. When something starts to go wrong in this area, it can quietly eat away at your sense of self. That's why this sign, more than others, is often kept hidden. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away, and it certainly doesn't stop the clock on what's happening inside your arteries. If you've noticed changes in your sexual function, don't be ashamed or afraid. See it as your body giving you a chance to act before something more serious happens. The good news: many men who catch this early and make the right lifestyle or medical changes can not only restore their vitality, but also avoid heart attacks or strokes down the road. It's not just about intimacy, it's about life itself. Sometimes the most personal signs are the most powerful ones. Your body always tells the truth. You just have to be willing to listen. Sign 4. Memory fog or mental slowness. If your memory has been slipping more than usual, or if you find yourself pausing mid-sentence trying to recall simple words or names, you might assume it's just normal aging. But what if I told you that your brain fog might actually be a sign of clogged arteries? After the age of 60, poor circulation becomes one of the most overlooked causes of mental decline, and it often starts silently. Your brain is one of the most blood-hungry organs in your body. It consumes about 20% of your total oxygen and energy, even though it makes up only about 2% of your body weight. That energy gets delivered through your arteries. So when those arteries narrow or become stiff with plaque, the blood and with it, the oxygen and nutrients has a harder time reaching your brain. And the results don't always show up as something dramatic like a stroke. More often, it's subtle. Forgetting names more frequently, having trouble focusing, or feeling like your brain just isn't as sharp as it once was. Let's look at a real example. Carol, 72, began to feel increasingly scattered. She had always been sharp, organized, and quick-witted, but over the past year, she noticed she was mixing up dates, walking into rooms and forgetting why, or rereading the same paragraph in a book because it wouldn't stick. Her friends told her it was just part of getting older, but her gut told her otherwise. Eventually, a checkup revealed that she had high blood pressure and early signs of carotid artery narrowing, the very vessel responsible for feeding the brain. Once she addressed her circulation through lifestyle changes and medication, her mental clarity slowly started to return. There's also an emotional impact here. For many seniors, struggling with memory can trigger fear. Fear of dementia, fear of dependence, fear of losing control. But recognizing the physical roots of these changes can offer not only relief, but a path forward. When clogged arteries are involved, the problem may not be permanent, especially if addressed early. It's a wake-up call, not a life sentence. So if you're finding yourself a little more forgetful lately, don't just brush it off. Ask yourself, is this really normal aging? Or could it be something deeper? The good news is that your brain wants to heal. When circulation improves, so does function. And if you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Sign 5. Erectile difficulty or reduced sexual function. Most people wouldn't expect a bedroom issue to be a warning sign of heart trouble, but the truth is, problems with erectile function are often the body's earliest clue that something is wrong with your arteries. Sometimes years before other symptoms appear. After age 60, this becomes especially important to pay attention to, not just for quality of life, but for your health and longevity. Here's why. An erection relies on healthy blood flow, and the arteries that supply blood to the penis are far narrower than the ones leading to the heart or brain. That means they're often the first to suffer when plaque starts to build up. In many cases, when blood can't reach those vessels properly, it results in difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection. And while many men chalk it up to aging or testosterone decline, studies have shown that this issue can be a reliable early predictor of coronary artery disease. Take Frank, a 69-year-old retired engineer. He was always active and prided himself on being in decent shape for his age. But over a year or so, he noticed changes. Nothing drastic, just less performance and desire. At first, he shrugged it off as part of growing older, but when a friend mentioned that he'd had a heart scan after dealing with similar symptoms, Frank decided to get checked too. What he found shocked him. He had significant arterial narrowing, particularly in his lower body and heart. Thankfully, it was caught in time. With treatment and lifestyle changes, not only did his circulation improve, but so did his confidence and energy. Now let's look at this from a psychological standpoint. For many older men, a decline in sexual performance feels like a personal failure. It can lead to shame, frustration, or even depression. But reframing it as a potential circulatory issue removes the blame and opens the door to action. Instead of thinking, "I'm getting old," the question becomes, "Is my body trying to tell me something?" It's worth noting that women too may experience changes in sexual function linked to poor circulation, things like dryness or reduced sensation. Again, these signs are easy to dismiss or feel embarrassed about, but in both men and women, they can point to underlying arterial problems that deserve attention. So if you or your partner have noticed changes in the bedroom, see it as a message from your body rather than just a sign of aging. Addressing blood flow and heart health could make a bigger difference than you think, not just in your relationships, but in your overall well-being and future. Final thoughts. By now you might be realizing that clogged arteries don't always announce themselves with dramatic chest pain or obvious warning signs. In fact, the body often whispers before it screams, and the 5 signs we discussed today, unusual fatigue, jaw or neck discomfort, leg pain while walking, frequent indigestion, and changes in sexual function, are the whispers. They're not meant to scare you, we warn them. They're meant to empower you. As we grow older, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that everything uncomfortable is just part of aging. But when we accept discomfort as normal, we risk missing our chance to intervene. The truth is, many of the changes we associate with getting older are actually linked to declining circulation. And unlike aging, circulation problems can often be improved, sometimes dramatically, with awareness, lifestyle shifts, and timely medical care. Let's reflect for a moment. Think about how many people you've known who had no idea their arteries were blocked until it was too late. A sudden heart attack, a stroke out of nowhere. The truth is, these events are rarely out of nowhere. The signs were likely there, they just went unrecognized. And maybe, just maybe, you've noticed 1 or 2 of these signs in yourself or someone you care about. That doesn't mean it's too late. In fact, it means now is the perfect time to take action. Start by listening to your body with new ears. Talk to your doctor about what you've noticed, and remember, the earlier you respond, the more power you have to protect your heart, your brain, and your independence. You deserve to live your later years with vitality, clarity, and peace of mind. Don't let silent symptoms rob you of that. Stay curious, stay proactive, and above all, stay hopeful. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.